Hospital, Raipur. Dr. Abha Daherwal ma'am, consultant, PTJNM Medical College. Dr. Pragati Khalatkar ma'am, director and consultant at Khalatkar Hospital. Dr. Sangeeta Jogi ma'am, professor, obstetrician and gynecologist working at SIMS Bilaspur. Dr. Rajni Sao, gynecologist at Karma Hospital, Raipur. And Dr. Neerja Agrawal, obstetrician and gynecologist at Raipur. And Dr. Arpana Verma ma'am. We welcome you all. Our chairpersons, kindly take your seats. Come on the dais. I request my chairpersons to introduce our speaker, Dr. Sarita Agrawal ma'am.
Welcome, Sarita. Sarita is a professor and head of the Department of AIMS Raipur. She had been Vice President Foxy 2015. She has been on the ICOG Academic Council member 2017. And she has been organizing co-chairperson of the International Conference on High-Risk Pregnancy. She has a long list of CV.
मेरी जरूरत नहीं है, मुझे सब पहचानते हैं. मेरे को 2 मिनट ज्यादा दे देना. Always I exceed the time.
Yes, that is what. Start. Please start.
So very good afternoon to all of you. So my topic is something very different. Beyond estrogen, the emerging role of estrobolome. I think this word many of us have never heard earlier also. Agreed?
माइक को थोड़ा पास कर लीजिए. माइक.
Hello. So there is a transition from menopause to midlife. Why? This is the reason for that. We are not talking about menopause, we are discussing midlife. This is because menopause is a single point of time and most of the cognitive health issues occurring approximately between the age of 40 to 65. Not all of these are directly related to menopause. They start much earlier and continue for the initial phase. That is what we are recognizing as a midlife. If you want to prevent any consequence of the menopause, we have to address during the midlife period. So that is the reason the shift is from menopause to midlife, because prevention is much better than treating. So we won't need MST if you start working at the midlife itself. So, and then when you are asking about the managing the menopause, we have a shift from the estrogen to estrobolome, the emerging role. What exactly? Why this concept has come? Because there's an interest of the non-hormonal interventions. Not only the patient choice, but also the doctors think that the non-hormonals are better. So there are lots of researches ongoing on the diet, fiber, prebiotic, probiotics, symbiotics, and exercise, and they have shown some of the other benefits and metabolic and the inflammatory health of the women, not only during the midlife of the menopause, but throughout the life they have the role. Therefore, I am just going to talk about some insight on the estrobolome. The first and the formally defined, it is in a functional microbiome subset, which is recognized for the breast cancer. And we know the breast cancer is an estrogen-dependent cancer. So the first role was recognized at that time. Then the gut microbiome, beta-glucuronidase deactivate the estrogen and helps in reabsorption of estrogen from the guts. And that is the concept which has come in 2019 by Irwin et al. So there are the specific bacterial species which are there in the gut. They are responsible for the recycling of the estrogen. Thereafter, the menopause role its role in menopause is recognized, and then its role also in as a creating the hyperestrogenic condition in endometriosis is also recognized. So over a period of point, it has been recognized as the estrobolome. So basically, what exactly is estrobolome? Estrobolome is basically the beta-glucuronidase producing microbiomes in the human gut. So this is the population which works for the menopausal management. So I'm just going to take step by step the science, the myths, the clinical research, the hype, the rarity, and the future direction. Taking the first science behind the estrobolome. So certain gut bacteria, they produce enzyme beta-glucuronidase which can deconjugate the estrogen metabolized, excreted in the bile. We know the estrogen is conjugated in the liver, then excreted to the bile into the bowel. And from there, these gut microbiota, they are going to deconjugate this estrogen, and then they helps in recycling of this estrogen back to the liver, back to the blood circulation, and thereby they regulate the estrogen contraction concentration in the body. And therefore, the term estrobolome has come into the existence for the enteric bacteria whose gene products actually regulate and metabolize the estrogen. So if you think about the menopause, we know the estrogen is low there. And here we want that the estrogen level should be bit higher to take care of the menopausal symptoms. This is the same thing again. Displayed liver conjugation, biliary excretion, and the beta glucuronidase action letting to recycling of the estrogen. So, what exactly happens during the menopause? You know, it is not a one directional flow. This is two direction. The estrogen deficiency around the menopause or the midlife that reduces the population or the taxa of the microflora which are producing the beta glucuronidase. And then this decreased beta glucuronidase microflora further prevents the recycling. So these are two events occurring together and thereby the further deficiency of estrogen is there in the body. So if you are able to manage this gut microflora in some way, because you cannot either you are managing giving the estrogen, but if you don't want to give the estrogen, on that cases you have to supplement with the microflora. So that is a basic science behind that, but I'm going to come about certain scientific papers who are supporting or not supporting. So this is how the menopause, declining estrogen concentration, altered microbial equilibrium, decreased firmicutes to bacteroids ratio. What we mean by the firmicutes, they are the lactobacillus and the bifidobacterium. There, it is not so simple population that n number of floras also. So this paper is have very much identify which microflora are the beneficial and which microflora are non-beneficial. So we have to remember firmicutes are favorable and bacteroids are non-favorable. So that is how they in this paper they have studied on the Hispanic women, and they found the microflora ratio in the menopausal women is similar to that what is there in the men. And we know the men is low in estrogen and progesterone. And that is similar to that. Therefore, during menopause, you get this microflora reset is there. I have 9 minutes now. Okay. So, this research in the Hispanic community has further emphasized that if you have a better firmicutes to the bacterial ratio, the risk of cardiometabolic risk is low. That means the reversal of ratio is going to be a cardiometabolic protective. And we know in the menopause, we are more concerned about the cardiometabolic risk. So, now if I go for the evidences, I did not take all papers because it become little bit boring. So the key take home by the whatever literature available, decreased gut microbial diversity. There's a moderate and a strong evidence for that. Short chain fatty acid producing bacteria is a decrease. Again, the moderate evidence. For the beneficial genera, that is the Fecalis bacterium and the Roseburia, it is fairly consistent. Then increase opportunistic pathogenic bacteria, that is the bacteroid. Again, it is in a moderate evidence. Altered beta glucuronidase producing bacteria, that is estrobolome. What I'm talking about, emerging evidences are there. We are not yet proven that they are really the reset is required and which can take care of your menopausal health. So decrease ratio, again the inconsistent evidences are there. But I'm going to come on the later slides how we can really help the women by looking into these things. So I'm just going to talk about, I think हमारे पास बहुत सारे एमार्स लोग आते हैं कि पीसीओस में प्रोबायोटिक, एंडोमेट्रियोसिस में प्रोबायोटिक्स and they're going to help everything. Now, if we look into that, PCOS is a hyperandrogenic condition, right? So this is also, there's a dysregulated firmicutes to bacteria ratio, and that is responsible for the PCOS and the metabolic syndrome. But the bacteria species required may be differentiated, hyperestrogenic. We don't want the beta glucuronidase producing microflora here. Then looking at the endometriosis, here the upregulated beta glucuronidase activity is there. So here, if you will give this beta glucuronidase already upregulated, you will spoil that. And menopause only when it is a hypoestrogenic condition, this beta glucuronidase species is going to help. So don't get influenced by the MRs coming and talking about the pharma company. To give probiotic, prebiotic, it helping. You have to look at the what species they are working upon. So our concern when we are dealing with the hypoestrogenic condition is one is that beta glucuronide is producing, and the second is the sulfa activators. So these two species are important for us. So section 2, the hype, which I was talking about, what is being overclaimed in the estrobolome space. Test your estrobolome with a home gut kit to optimize your hormones. There are n number of the home gut kits they are providing, marketing, but none of them has been validated clinically yet. So don't get biased. They are asking कि वो DNA based test है, वो RNA based test है, and they're going to check your microflora diversities in your gut, and based upon that we can advise what you should take and what you should not take. I have the list of all these test kits also, but I think the single word, you don't get biased, that these kits are good. Second, the calcium D-glucarate supplements to block beta glucuronide and detox estrogen. This is very much promoted for the endometriosis cases. Look into that. Limited human RCT evidences are available for that. Then estrobolome causes estrogen dominance in all women with the hormonal symptoms. Again, the causality is not yet established. So look into that. It is evolving. Then specific probiotic strains can precisely reset your estrobolome. Yes, this is a 2025 systematic review. We have proven that the probiotic produce modest yet consistent benefit strain. Now I just want to know from the audience, can you tell me what is the difference in prebiotic, probiotic and symbiotics? हम एंटीबायोटिक के साथ में भी बोलता है प्रोबायोटिक देना है कि प्रीबायोटिक देते कंफ्यूज हो जाते. Can anybody tell me what is the difference of pre, pro and symbiotics? Difficult, na? So I'm just going to, I think I had just removed that slide from here. Prebiotics are basically we are giving the microflora. जैसे lactobacillus की capsules आती हैं. So we are giving the beneficial microflora directly. Yeast है, lactobacillus है, these are the capsules. Then this is a prebiotic. When we talk about the probiotic, then we supplement the nutritional supplement which help to flourish this microflora in your gut. Means they are allowing this microflora to grow in the gut. And then when we talk about the symbiotic, a combination of prebiotic plus probiotic is symbiotic. So if I think the symbiotic is better, no. You have to think about that you are working for the beta glucuronide, which strain of microflora you actually want to increase the population. Because each microflora had a different probiotic required for growth of that. So if you are having a bad combination, like sulfur needs inulin, but glucuronidase needs the other phos. So if I don't know what combination is there, I am Buddhu. So I think we have to look into that when we are getting to this. Then coming to certain myths. More gut bacteria, better estrogen balance. It's a myth. Diversity matter. The type of flora you want based upon what you are looking for, that matters. Menopause uniformly destroys the estrobolome. Again, there's a meta-analysis. The studies results are heterogeneous. And this vary a lot based upon the geographical area, because we know the geographical area, the dietary pattern differs. So this is not an homogeneous data available. The microbiome estrogen link is one direction. I already told it is bidirectional. All probiotics improve the estrobolome. I have very clearly told, not all. You have to be very specific what you want. Then the rarity. There are some landmark findings, rare insights and evidences gaps are there. So because I'm talking about the estrobolome, which is a relatively newer term, and I said it is important for the, as this concerns the midlife for the menopause. But can you think about where it can have the role? When we are dealing with the estrogen, either excess or deficiency. So there are the areas like premature ovarian insufficiency. We have to still look for these researches. Pregnancy and the postpartum psychosis. You know, after the pregnancy, drops drastically for a while. And this is the period when the perpetual psychosis occurs. So this is again an area of research. Then antibiotic-induced estrogen distortion. We are prescribing pre, pro, syn. I don't know what I prescribe. Before I preparing for this lecture, I think I was also not very much clear. Then vaginal microbiome estrobolome crosstalk. This is again you have going to be a very useful thing. And I think the lactobacillus vaginal tablets are now available, but they are working at the local levels. They are not going to give you the benefit on the higher level. Then clinical research. So Microbiome reset we're talking about. So do you want to give the microbiome capsules? Do you want to give the probiotic? Do you want to give the symbiotic? I think these are not at all required because we're talking since yesterday. The lifestyle modification is one of the key factor which can take care of. So look at this, the Indian diet, the dietary fiber and the fermented foods containing yeast and curd, like our curd, idli and dosa. They are enhancing the firmicutes population. So why not to promote this? Then phytoestrogen rich foods, soya, isoflavone, flaxseed and all, they are taking care of the better menopausal outcome. Not by their direct effect because they are correcting the microflora diversities. Then strain specific probiotics, I already told, pre and symbiotics, you have to be very cautious what you are using and when you want to use. Then consistent exercises, grade A recommendation. What does enhances microbial diversities? Stress management, grade B. Chronic psychological stress disrupts the gut digestive integrity and alters microbiota. Sleep and circadian rhythm. If disturbs sleep, then diversities can be affected. So this is now how we are going to address. Identify high risk women, do the dietary and the lifestyle assessment, do microbiome informed counseling, and then targeted probiotic consideration. And of course, this is very important because having the lacking of the data from our own region. So whenever you are treating any patient with a microbiome, then enroll eligible patient in estrobolon research protocol. Consider referral for the gut microbiome profiling in refractory hormonal disease. So this is future direction, lots of future direction. I already discussed. I'm just skipping. So the outcome, final takeaway, gut microbiome influences estrogen metabolism. Menopause alters gut microbiome composition. Probiotics improve the estrogen level, weak recommendation. Microbiome manipulation relieves hot flushes, limited. Microbiome intervention improves bone health, emerging. Microbiome intervention replaces hormone therapy. It's never, never, and never. So it's the field is not shifting away from estrogen to the field is now shifting, not shifting away from the estrogen. It is just expanding from an estrogen centric model to an integrated hormone microbiome model. And then it adds to you healthy aging. So this is a differences which I use. Thank you so much. The gut is merely not a digestive system. It is an endocrine interface shaping the hormonal destiny of every woman across the lifespan. Thank you so much.
Yes, it was an interesting talk, Dr. Sarita. So beautifully evolved this talk and how it significance of and importance of and involvement of microbiome, estrobiome. Very beautifully said. And really you cleared the concept of prebiotic, probiotic and symbiotic. Thank you. It was very lucid. Thank you so much.